No.
What is happening out there?
Not too much. It's there's only a few bands that are not even similar to us, mostly just top 40 stuff. Top 40 bands and cover bands. And not too many people are playing original material.
Well, the way we're going about it is by playing original music. That cuts down a lot of the opportunities in terms of playing. Instead of playing 10 clubs in a city, you can only play 2 or 3 because the majority of the people want to hear top 40, which is what, if you're safe. Basically, you're safe. If you play the top 40 songs, you can get work and you can keep a steady living. The way we're doing it is that we don't really play consistently every week, every month, and that sort of thing. So that's why we're just sort of scraping by.
So how did you guys start touring? How did you get on the road?
We bought a school bus.
Yeah.
Took some seats out and went to Flin Flon or someplace.
We haven't established a name either, so he can't sell the name to someone because no one's heard of the Idols. So it's a slow process just getting out of Saskatoon. Barely made it to Edmonton.
Where are you playing after Edmonton?
Back home.
Saskatoon.
So you only take like a jaunt to one city and then you're back at home base again?
It's been like that.
So you haven't really taken any extensive tours?
Probably 3 weeks, maybe 4 at the most is the most we went. I think we have too many different directions. We do some slow ones, we do some really fast ones. Some people think we're punk, and some songs, and I think people have a hard time relating to what we are.
What would you consider you guys? If you're going to give yourself a title?
Just pop. Having a diversity of songs is, I think, quite an advantage on an album. The albums that we like to listen to are Beatle albums where they range. The feel of each song is different because once you've done it, don't keep repeating it. But that turns out to be not the case live. The really popular bands are the really trendy things that come in fast, like rockabilly, electro beat. They come in and it's all the same. People like it for a while and they just get into it. Most of the trendy music is all fairly repetitious, the structures and the rhythms and that sort of thing.
Besides being a band, you're also a business. How did that come about?
I think when we got together a year ago, there was Merl, Neil, myself, and another bass player. And I think it was just an approach. We had been together the year previous to that. And we knew some things about the business. I think we wanted to, at that time we were playing mostly original music. And we were looking at recording and being a success as musicians. So we thought, what do successful musicians do when they become successful? Or what does anybody do when they form a business or when they start something their own, if they become successful? So we thought about incorporating as a company. We also thought about forming a partnership, and we sought legal advice on what would be the best for our situation. And if for success, the incorporation was the best way to go. So planning on being successful, we did that.
I think we all realize that every band is a business, whether the band knows it or not. Bands that are just sort of fumbling along, they're just conducting sloppy business and they don't realize it. And you can look at a lot of bands that end up tangled up in lawsuits after a couple albums. And we wanted to try to set things straight, so everything would be easy. Money goes into the corporation, we draw dividends and we do this and that. There hasn't been any money, not very much money, so it's basically been we've had some problems that we keep getting letters back from Ottawa and they want us to define what we are, and it gets kind of ridiculous, some of the things. Right now it's singing with musical accompaniment. That's what we do. There has to be a definition for everything. Success. I don't think we have an inkling of what that's like.
Did any of you come against any type of opposition for being a musician, a full-fledged musician, the whole musical lifestyle?
Opposition from
Well, I don't know. Friends saying you're doing the wrong thing, you should be a brain surgeon, it's much more economically wise.
I think if there's any opposition for myself, it was from myself. If that makes sense there.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
You ask yourself.
Yeah, I ask myself, do I want to be a musician? I think you have to get over that question first. Do I want to be a musician? And I had to think about it for a little while, and I came to the decision, yes, this is what I want to do. Because practically it's the only thing I can do. But that was that was insignificant. I love singing. I like playing. I like entertaining. That's why I do. I like writing. It's great. Can't complain about it. I'm glad I made the decision I did instead of going to college or whatever.
He has the perfect job.
Yes, it worked out well for me. I wouldn't recommend it for everyone.
I think we're kind of used to it because it's gone through different phases. We've all been in bands that play together. We've been in bands that stop and people go through phases, they just don't want to play music. So I think we've all been faced with that situation several times.
I think one thing, about the music industry is if you have the young, clean look, you can do a lot better. It's easier to sell. And you only have that for so long, so, we're getting lines in our faces. Don't zoom in. But you just sort of have to see where you are. And like the first few personnel changes we had were, to me, they felt kind of devastating. But now it's sort of like, well, if anybody quits, it's his life. He's got to decide what he wants to do. You can't quit a band without hurting the other people. So it's hard to quit, and it's hard to be in a band when someone quits, but, you just have to sort of go on. Yeah, hopefully. Not just songwriting, but it's a slow change, I guess. It's a kind of situation like when somebody's not getting a fair deal, whether it's a sexual thing or a racial thing, it's the other side that's got to change, For women's rights to succeed, men have to change, and for blacks to get what they still need, whites have to, change and give it to them. People don't want to change, People just walk away from problems, things like that. I don't know how clear that would be to anybody listening. But I think if people want something in black and white, then they read essays and things like that. And some songs it works if you're crystal clear, but that song just didn't come out that way. No, I think what the audience expects from a pop band, we're trying to be a pop band. And diverse is just to keep different ideas coming at them. They don't want everything to be the same. So we're not really in a position yet where we have an actual audience. I think that comes more with recording.
Yeah, I don't think we're sticking to any formulas as like some bands do. Like there's commercial bands that they'll write lyrics like "Baby Come Home" or something like that. That's not thinking. That's just writing. Like you're just writing words down. To me, that's all it is. There's no thought behind whether the song is commercial.
Maybe we don't know exactly what's coming out word for word, but it's coming out, and it's not. Well, like I said, "Baby Come Home." There's more to it than that.
Yeah.
It's done with some kind of style. Finesse.
What type of style is that?
My own, I guess, our own. Can't really elaborate on that. Maybe Neil can.
Well, I don't think you can ever know that your songs are any better or worse. You just have to sort of feel it yourselves, as long as the band knows.
We're not formulated. We have no formula. That's why our songs are so different. Like our originals, they vary so much. There's no one formula behind our band or the band. As far as I can see, I don't know. I don't write the songs, but I can. They're not formulated. I know that. They're just like Merl was saying. They're coming off the talk. He's sort of has an idea, and he just works on that idea.
You don't have anybody pressuring you in any particular way in how to play?
The only pressure we would get would be from within the band.
Is there any of that pressure within the band?
Sometimes just trying to get a style. We had a fellow who was interested in getting us on a Mercy beat kind of thing, where, as mentioning before, we really don't have a direction where you can say this band's a Mercy beat. Play 60 songs, they sound like a band that came out of the 60s, they look that way. And we really didn't get a unanimous vote on it, so we sort of passed on the idea. I think that's about the only pressure that we have. It's just trying to get one direction.
I
a set way that we want to do things. Usually decisions are made by us four. We all have pretty much an equal say, depending on the decision. Usually we all sort of sit together, and if it's heavy, we spend a lot of time on it, usually more time than we need to.
What were some of those major decisions? Was like that Mercy being one of them?
Yeah, and also we've been trying to do a little bit of recording and playing live, and we tried to build two things. Recording is different than playing live, and it's hard. Financially, it's almost impossible. And it gets on us because we sort of spend too much time in the studio and we're trying to do it ourselves. We don't have experience, and it just gets prolonged. Everything gets prolonged. Whereas if we took one direction, I think it might be better.
What is the difference between recording and playing live?
Galaxy.
Galaxy.
Well, there's people out there. When you play live, you're performing. You're catering to people who are there paying to see you, and that's when the original music comes in. A lot of times they don't want it, and then you have to play a lot of times when you don't want to necessarily. You want to play your own songs, but sometimes you have to play other people's songs to win the people over. Then you play your own songs.
Yeah, recording is a means of getting those people to hear your band before you play at a certain place. Like, that's something we'd like to do. Get the originals on the recording, and if get somebody to buy it, hopefully, and then if a person can listen to that record, if they like the band, they'll come and see the band for the original songs.